Good morning. Happy Friday. I have my Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect. Okay. Happy Friday. This is awesome. It's been a great week. I had my chips and salsa last night. Very exciting. My buddy Jim Ferris sent me a picture of a margarita that he had last night. So I actually had a margarita, which I normally don't do on a Thursday. So I enjoyed that a great deal. Rocks, no salt for those of you keeping track at home. Had a bunch of questions that came in this week, but wanted to pick one out that is a sort of like a case that we can talk our way through, because I think a lot of people are going to be facing these situations, especially with your heavily trained individuals. So this comes from Thomas, and Thomas is having trouble with dorsal rostral expansion. So those of you who are unfamiliar, the dorsal rostral area means upper back. So the dorsal is the back side, rostral is up. So this is the upper back area. So this is between the scapula. And so Thomas has a rather long explanation. So hang in there with me. I got to read this. So Thomas says, I'm a wide ISA individual with years of hard exercise. Got pretty deep into the compensatory patterns. I'm limited in hip and shoulder ER and IR, so internal and external rotation. And have difficulties turning. I've made some good progress thanks to the Camporini deadlift, but I'm still dealing with the inability to get dorsal rostral expansion. The muscles of my upper back constantly feel engaged. I've tried the Terry Project move for dorsal rostral expansion, but struggle to find success there because my shoulders want to immediately hike up. So he's got a lot of anterior posterior compression through this area. So he's really squeezed in this representation here, okay? Which makes the clavicle and the scapula ride up onto the upper part of the rib cage. So he's got a lot of compression there. My Camporini angle, so that's the angle between the scapula and the clavicle. So again, we're looking at this angle right there. Okay, it should be about 60 degrees. And his is a lot less than 60 degrees. I've tried the manual intervention I posted on YouTube. So there's a scapular mobilization that you can use to depress this scapula and actually open up the Camporini angle. Doesn't work for everyone. Clearly, it doesn't work for Thomas. He says it causes numbness and tingling down my arm to my fingers. And so curious on your thoughts, Bill, as to where this leads me. Would it be wise to focus on working this from the bottom up, trying to push through dorsal rostral specific activities? Okay, so let's strategize this thing from the get-go. Okay, so Thomas, you've got a lot of training under your belt, clearly. You've used a lot of compressive type activities. The number one strategy in these circumstances when you're trying to make a change is don't do something that interferes with your intention, okay? So, excuse me. So here's what you got to start with. You have to eliminate the activities that are actually increasing this compressive strategy or reinforcing the compressive strategy. So these would be anything that is maximal effort, high level hypertrophy, strong exhalation strategies, etc., etc. So this is the hardest part to eliminate for most people because everybody wants to train hard and they're used to training hard. Excuse me. And they're used to training hard, and so it becomes very difficult for them to eliminate the things that are actually getting in the way. Hang on a second here. Hang on. Neuro Coffee to the rescue. There we go. Okay. So, no barbells. If there's a barbell in your hands, you're going to increase your compressive strategy hands down. Anything that's bilateral symmetrical, so both arms and legs are doing the same thing at the same time. So a squat, a deadlift, a press, a row, a chin up, etc., all will increase your compressive strategies. So let's keep that in mind. So what we want to start to do is start training one side of the body at a time. So we have a compression on one side, we can have expansion on the other. So that's the way you want to start to think about structuring your strength training, but you're also going to have to reduce your intensity level because again, anytime you use that exhalation strategy, you're going to be reinforcing the superficial musculature as exhalers. Side-lying activities to start to re-educate your ability to breathe without the compensatory exhalation strategies. So this is a kinder, gentler kind of a thing. It's really boring for most people because it's no fun. It's not lifting heavy things. It's not driven towards any type of performance other than to find the other end of the performance spectrum. So this is gentle rolling techniques, gentle rotations, anything that falls under the axial skeletal PNF patterns is a great way to do this, but it's got to be kinder and gentler. It's got to be very, very low effort, and it's got to be very, very quiet, relaxed type breathing. You have to actually learn to reduce your concentric orientations. So again, we have to use this low compressive style of breathing, especially with exhalations. Manual therapies are actually very, very good under these circumstances. So you have a lot of stiffness that you're dealing with. And this is not just muscular activity. So this is not just concentric orientation. This is skeletal stiffness. So we're going to start looking at manual therapies as an adjunct to helping you find a way to create these expansions. So this is where I will send people off to our favorite human being is regard to the massage world, Jenny Owens here in the iFast world. She's awesome. She works with a lot of high-level athletes, and we get great responses from that. So that type of soft tissue actually promotes shape change at the muscular level, so we can actually reduce some of this concentric orientation, and then you follow it with your activities to actually reduce the concentric orientation as well, and we get a nice little effect there. Rib manipulations and mobilizations under these circumstances is actually very, very helpful. We have to restore some of the mobility to the ribs themselves because they get compressed. They become stiffer in their behavior because they're just part of the compressive strategy. So we have to start thinking along those lines. And again, follow that type of a manual therapy with activities to help you reduce concentric orientation and promote the mobility through the thorax. Tractioning activities reduce concentric orientation. So again, you can use banded tractions, you can use light suitcase carries and such to help you promote some of this eccentric orientation that you're missing. You're somewhat correct when you're talking about a bottom-up strategy. So inversion strategies under these circumstances are going to be very, very helpful because they're going to flip-flop the airflow as far as the way that the lungs are going to fill. So we want to expand this upper part of the thorax. If I flip you upside down, it's a little bit easier to get that upper part of the lung to fill up. I would start with the supine inversion. Since you're a wide ISA, because of the shape of the diaphragm, you're going to get a better posterior expansion under those circumstances because you're going to have to build the expansion, chances are, from below the level of scapula first, then worry about dorsal rostral. Then you can flip yourself over and go face down inversions to recapture that. I would also encourage you, since it's kind of summery now and hopefully you've got access to a pool, is just get in the pool and hang out. Get the water level up to your neck, move around, start working on your turning capabilities. Again, gentle inhales and exhales, and just start to move in a lower gravity situation so you can actually relearn to expand yourself. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But this is not something that you typically can force your way through. So working harder is usually not the best case scenario. You typically need some additional assistance through the manual therapies. So I think if you put a combination of factors together here, Thomas, I think you've got a shot at this. But again, I would say that if you're going to try to force your way out of this, probably not going to work. You're going to have to go kinder and gentler a little bit, and you're going to have to modify what you're doing, take away some of the intensive activities to allow this expansion to occur. Keep me posted on this, Thomas, because I think that a lot of people are struggling with these kind of situations because they're trying to work too hard to get their way out of it, and it just doesn't work. So I hope everybody has a great Friday. It's a beautiful day today. I'm going to be outside a little bit today, so I'm excited about that. And have a great weekend. And happy 4th of July tomorrow for those of you in the United States of America. And I will see you next week.